it's BT with the BT Motogp Motegi GP review. Let's get right to it. Listen, I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say. Man, that race was so boring. Listen, I know. But I'm not gonna lie. The funniest comment I read about that was the guy goes, "One of the biggest mistakes I've made in my life was setting my alarm for 5 o'clock to watch that Motogp race." I thought that was hilarious. Okay, it was. Even F1 fans are like, yeah, that was kind of a boring race. It happens, okay? It happens. But you know who I blame for that? You know who I blame for that race weekend being boring? You know who I blame? Race direction. Because listen, let's be honest, right? Marquez had pole position. I think he broke the track record. He had pole position, right? And because of a faulty Wi-Fi from race direction, right? They didn't catch that he exceeded track limits. They didn't catch it in time. They penalized him. They admit it was their fault. Faulty Wi-Fi. By the way, faulty Wi-Fi in Japan? Really? Faulty Wi-Fi in the electronics capital of the world? Really? Faulty Wi-Fi? Really? Okay. That's like going to Brooklyn and finding two dudes that can't rap or play basketball. Are you serious, bro? Anyway, faulty Wi-Fi in Japan. Anyway, it was race direction's fault, right? But Marquez was penalized because they would have caught it on time. He still had time to get 2 more laps in. So by race direction's fault, right? By penalizing Marquez, and he had to start 9th, he could have been on the front row. Listen, front row, Marquez, Pedro Acosta, Pecco Bagnaia. That's like having a pizza delivered by Denzel Washington. You're like, are you serious? And he goes, yeah, you like that pizza? Is that what you like? That's what we were deprived of. And that's why the race was what it was. Can you imagine Pedro and Marquez going to the first corner together to see who gets the whole shot, right? And what if Pecco slams the door in his face or if he gets rough with him? Because Marquez loves to fight. He'd have been like, oh, that's what we're going to play, rookie? That's what you want to do? That's what we were deprived of. Don't get me wrong. I like Pecco. Pecco's great. He really is. Pecco's that kid who you know he's going to discover the cure for cancer or know how to get to outer space in like 2 days. You know what I mean? And on a Friday, you can't wait to have the big party of the weekend. And 5 minutes before the bell rings, he goes, hey, teacher, do we have any homework? And he goes, oh, as a matter of fact, we do. And you go, you son of a bitch. And that's what Pecco is. And I mean, the way he managed the race, he kept going, psych, to Jorge Martin. He's like, psych. And under a second, can you catch me? And psych. Really? Oh, under half a second? And psych. And he kept doing it to Martin. Martin kept going for the bid and he couldn't catch him. And that's what Pecco is. But Pedro and Marquez together on the front row, that's what we were deprived of, and that's why the race was what it was. But, and I'm going to digress. Moto3, props to David Alonso. He's a Moto3 champion. He was my rider of the race just for being champion. And the heartbreak goes to Ivan Artola and David Halgado. They could have stopped it, but they couldn't stop the Alonso. Props to that kid. So in 4 or 5 years, when he's in MotoGP, okay, and he's like, oh, I don't want anybody going, man, you hear about this new Alonso kid? And I'm going to go, really? Who told you about it? So props to him. Moto2, listen, what Ayagura did was nothing short of fantastic. That's why to me, the MVP of the weekend was Marquez, Bagnaia, and the weather. Okay? Because the weather evens the playing field. You know, it's like going through a bad neighborhood, right? But for some reason, nobody has a gun or a knife, right? But you do, right? Kind of levels the playing field, right? And that's what the weather does. And the way it went, it wasn't supposed to rain, but it did. You know the forecast, but it did. And Agura was fighting for a championship. You know what they say? Without great risk, there is no great reward. He's leading the championship, and nobody. This is basically what it was. This was the Asian Mazzano. Is what it was. This was the Japanese Mazzano. You know how it would start raining and Martin went in when he should have just watched Pecco because Pecco was leading the championship? And because Pecco was second in the championship, just follow him. You're leading. And that's what no one had the wherewithal to go, okay, if Agura, what's Agura on? Because he's from there. He's literally the homie. He's from Japan. He's a homeboy. He's the homie. And no one thought to look and see what he was racing? Okay, he's on slicks. We're on slicks. Granted, this comes from somebody who's sitting his fat ass in the living room watching the race, and I'm not risking my life like he is, but he's leading the championship. He's in his home racetrack. and no one thought to look to see what he was racing. But he risked it all, and he was rewarded. Granted, he got second, but he's my rider of the race. He got second, but damn, that is massive. El Grande Cojones. He's my rider of the race. Heartbreak goes to Aaron Canet, man. He was in the running for the championship. He probably still could win it, but I doubt it. I mean, I can't see a girl screwing this up, but you never know. But he's my heartbreak. Let's go to Motogp. Motogp, like I said, man, race direction was the reason for the boring race. Even Marquez said it. But like I said, he was the reason. But did anybody watch the Motogp video pass? Okay, I got the video pass. I don't know how they watch it or how you guys are watching or where you're watching it from, but Marquez, like before they go into the podium ceremony and start spraying champagne, they go backstage and watch the race. Well, after they watched it, Marquez asked Bagnaia, he goes, "Hey, how many points? What's the points difference?" Bagnaia said 10, and he said 10 points, and he goes, "Yeah," and Bagnaia goes, "It's going to be that way for the rest of the season." And Marquez says, "Interessante." And he said it like that, like interesting. But he said it with a flat tone while he was sucking his water bottle. And I don't know how to take what he said. Is he being facetious or is he goes, "Interessante." And Jorge Martin was like, Bagnaia goes, "Yeah, I hope it happens every weekend so it comes down to Valencia." And Martin was like, "Yeah, it comes down to the last race of the season." Yeah. And Martin was laughing, kind of like that nervous laugh. Like it's like those people that fought Mike Tyson back in his prime. And if you were still around after the third round, he go, "He ain't knocked me out. He ain't knocked me out yet. I'm still around." And that's what Martin was kind of like, "Hey, I'm still a champ." And I'm like, man, the last thing you want, the last race of the season, is Pecco Bagnaia. Because no offense, when Pecco gets that lead, man, like I said, when Pecco gets the lead, he's that kid that goes, he's going to discover a cure for cancer or whatever. And then the last 5 minutes of class, he goes, "By the way, teacher, do we have homework for the weekend?" And the teacher goes, "Oh, yeah, that's right, you do. Thanks, Pecco." And you go, "You son of a bitch." That's what Pecco is. So Pecco's great. I love him. But Pecco's greatness does make Motogp kind of boring. Because when Pecco gets out front, he manages to race like no other, the way he does it. And so, I mean, he's the gift and the curse. He really is. That's why you need Marquez. And what makes me so angry is Enea Bastianini, the beast. He's the most frustrating racer there. With Marquez, it's a constant. Marquez races everybody hard. He don't care who you are. He'll race his grandma hard. He don't give a shit. But the beast seems to race everybody hard but Pecco. And why? You got nothing to lose, bro. You ain't coming back next year. You're going to be in a different manufacturer. You are. I mean, it's like being fired from a job. You know you ain't going back there. So why not steal some paper clips, a couple of Sharpies, a coffee mug? You ain't coming back. That's what I don't understand about the beast. I mean, maybe it's perception. Maybe it looks like he's not trying harder than he is. He probably is, but it's just like he's not. But I just don't understand. Not being dirty, but I think he races everybody hard but Pecco. And the race of the weekend was he and Mark in the sprint race. If you didn't watch the sprint race, that was great. He and Marquez were trading blows, going back at it. I thought that was great. I think that was the race of the weekend. To me, if you ask me, that was the race. I mean, I'm even talking about the races even back in the back of the pack. So I thought that was the best race, was watching Pecco and Mark. And then for the race, watching Bagnaia still try to catch Mark, and he couldn't. But even Mark said, "I was kind of scared that the beast was coming." So the beast is the most frustrating racer in Motogp. If you guys think, can you guys name a more frustrating racer than the beast? I'd love to hear it. If you do, please tell me. I mean, maybe Pedro, but Pedro not frustrating. It's coming with Pedro, but with the beast, it's like you have all the tools. Why aren't you better than you are earlier in the race? Why can't you qualify better? And you're younger. That's one thing about. Well, Marquez, he kind of understand, because kind of like Rossi Tordino, they can't grasp that 15-minute or how to get it right. But I don't understand why the beast can't get it right. Anyway, yeah, okay, boring weekend for you guys, but I still like watching the little intricacies and watching Marquez and Martin try to gnaw at Pecco or try to do what they did and finish how they did. hey man, I give him props. Like I said, Jorge Martin, rider of the race, he went from 11th to 2nd, and the heartbreak goes to Pedro Acosta. Damn, I love Pedro. His time is coming. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Like I said, there's not too much to say about this, but they're going to Phillip Island in 2 weeks. I think Phillip Island is going to make up for this weekend. It really will. I think because it's a flowing racetrack. They got the ocean in the background. If the weather's good, oh, we could be in for a classic. Let's hope so. Anyway, that's the Motogp review weekend. Like I said, I think the MVP, you tell me what the MVP was. How about that? MVP question is, was it Marquez? Was it Bastianini? Was it Bastianini and Marquez together? Or was it the weather? I'm gonna go with all three. It was the weather, Marquez, and Bastianini. Because those three kind of leveled the playing field out, but still, you know it's kind of bad when the Moto3 race is just okay. Like, how was the Moto3 race? It was okay. That's when you know it's an okay weekend. But it happens. I give it a B+. I give it a B+. Anyway, going on way too long. I'm rambling. Thank you guys for watching. Hit me up in the comments like you did last week. What a great time we had last week. Thank you guys, everybody, for watching. I appreciate that. Like I say about this time, you know the word. Bye.